both. Just like to learn more. All good, all good. Well, I'm so glad and happy that you guys came. I will tell you more about myself as we go along, but I really do enjoy doing both. So that's why I wanted to share this webinar with you, so that I could, you know, just get as many people kind of happy doing both, if that's what you want to do. And it is possible, even though I was told it would be hard, but it is good. It is good. It's fun. It's possible. It's a great thing. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we continue on. This webinar is pre-approved for getting CEU credits from NCRA. So if you want them, you must stay until the end, answer a 3-question quiz I will send out. And actually, you don't have to request your form, even though I put that there, because when you submit the quiz, it will be sent to me, and I will know that you did it, and I will send you the form, which looks like this. So that's the top half that you will fill out, and then this is the bottom half that I will send you already all filled out. And you will take that, fill it out, and submit it. I think it's $45, and you will get your points. I think it's approved for 0.1 because it's an hour. So that's what it's going to look like. I'll show it to you at the end again, and I will talk about it again at the end, because I want to make sure if you want your points for NCRA that you get them. And I have been pre-approved. I have the authorization to give you this document, so you can send it in and get your points. And just a little bit about me, for those who don't know me yet, I have been reporting since 1983. And about 3 years ago, I guess, I started doing remote cart and remote captioning because of the reasons I put in the sign-up page and some more. I did do some on-site cart when I was probably in the 90s, the late 90s. I did some on-site cart in the evenings on the side. So I would do depots in the day, and then a couple evenings I would do the cart in local community colleges around my home. So I do have some certificates, and I have done pretty much everything in CART too. I've done meetings where I'm projected up onto the wall. I've done soccer games, football games, TV shows, news, pretty much anything you can do. City council meetings, just anything that was thrown my way. So what to expect from this webinar is I'm just going to share with you the reasons I think it's a good idea to do both. We're going to go into a summary of what you need to do CART and captioning, and if you're a CART and captioner, what you would need to do reporting too, because there are some CART and captioner providers who you know, want to start doing some depositions too. So also I'm going to have a brief summary of what you need to do to get started. And at the end, I'm going to tell you about another workshop masterclass I have for you if you are interested in learning more about how to get ready for captioning. This is just a definition of what CART is and what broadcast captioning is, and they're a little bit different. You will hear out in the, in the world, you'll hear captioning applied to both CART and broadcast captioning. So they're a little bit different. When you're doing CART, you're doing it usually in educational settings or in a meeting or classrooms, anywhere that a person who's hard of hearing or deaf needs it to participate. And usually it's on a separate screen. Obviously, if you're in the room with them, you could share your screen. That's what some people used to do. If it's remote, then you're going to they will have their own screen or their own computer, their own laptop. Broadcast captioning is, something that gets sent out at the time that a show is going on, that a TV show is going on live. And that's what we also add things in both of these arenas. We add sounds like you might see in captioning, for example, bell rings or sound effects. If you see SFX, it means sound effects are happening, just to let the person know some things are going on, that they, there's no action, there's just sound, so that's telling them what's going on in the show. On the top, this picture on the top here is just kind of like what cart would look like when you're providing it to somebody else. It doesn't always have to be those colors, but that is one way of supplying it. And the bottom picture, of course, is what you would see on TV. Before I go to the next one, any questions anyone would like to ask me about what I've said so far? Okay, well, go ahead and post them. I'll continue on, but if I see it, I will stop and answer. Okay, so I was told, and I've also talked to people in general, colleagues of mine, that it would be too hard to do both. You would get mixed up. You would start condensing, because in cart work, we're going to talk about in a minute, you can condense. You don't just drop, but you condense what's being said. And I have some examples to show you. You condense, and you might start doing that when you're supposed to be doing verbatim, and just it seems daunting to some people. But I am here to tell you that it isn't. You, as long as your mind is in the game, you can tell your mind today is this one way of writing, and tomorrow is a different way of writing. So you can definitely do both. That's what I'm here to tell you. That's what I want to do this whole webinar for, so that I can tell people that it is possible. So who can do both? Obviously, for caption and cart, you absolutely need to be doing real time. Now, if you don't do real time yet, you can get ready and do it. So don't be discouraged if you're not doing it right now. And you can get ready. It's not that hard. Also, it's probably a good thing if you can work on your own, because if you're going to be doing remote, you're going to be sitting in your office by yourself, working those days that you're working doing captioning. And it's also really good if you're a good troubleshooter and if you don't let yourself get ruffled. So those are, I would say those are some of the maybe prerequisites of doing it. Other than that, anybody can do it, and you just need to prepare yourself for it. Now, your mindset that I talked about a second ago is really, really important, because if you're used to doing, like I was used to doing 30 years or whatever of just verbatim, except for that little stint I did in the 90s of doing some on-site cart work, but mostly my mind has been on let's do everything verbatim. Everything has to be verbatim. If I'm not getting it, I'm stopping them. I'm not relying on my audio. I must stop them if they're talking over each other, etc. But in cart work, in captioning, you can't do that. So you have to learn how to practice differently, how to focus differently. And I just put dress differently, because when you're home captioning, you're in your cozy, comfy clothes. And when you're not, when you're out on a depot, of course, you're in your business clothes. Why I do it is for these reasons here. I was getting really tired of being in traffic 5 days a week. I love staying at home. I live on a little horse property, so it's so nice to be home. It's fun to see the horses run by in their pastures. It's so nice to have like a day or two of jobs where you don't have any transcripts hanging over your head. You don't have any exhibits to do. I find it challenging. I love challenging work, so some of it, is very hard. Some of it's not. If you do some cart work, well, it's the same class for this, for a semester. You can prep for it. That's not as hard as maybe doing the news. But I like it. I like to be challenged. I think it makes me a better writer, a better reporter, and it keeps me going. It keeps me fresh. Keeps me from being burnt out. And I find it all very interesting too. It is fun for me. And I've always liked to have different income streams. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit more about that. Also, it lets me travel. So when I travel, I can do cart or captioning work from anywhere. So that was a big motivator for me to get into it. I've gone down to, other cities and visited family and friends, and I just go off in a room and I do my little, newscast or whatever, and then I'm not giving up all my income, but I'm still able to do all the traveling I want to do. I once watched a lady at an NCRA convention. She was doing a captioning job. I think she was captioning the news, and she was just doing it out on the vendor floor. She just set up her stuff there, and she had her headphones on, and she was just doing it right there. So what are the benefits? I basically put here exactly what I said, why I do it, because those are what I see as the benefits. There's, you're not going in traffic. There have been days for me, for example, where I have a depot and it cancels and it's maybe 4:30 or something and I cannot pick up another one. So I'll just click on the offers from the cart companies, picking up some cart work. And so then I don't lose out on a whole day's of income just because my depot canceled. And I've had days also where I do maybe some little cart work in the morning and then I go do a depot. It's very flexible, and I really like that. I also really love having different income streams. So if one is kind of slow coming in, so the court reporting firms or the lawyers are slow paying, I will get that captioning check. And also you can do it from anywhere, as we discussed. Now, just talking about income sources for a minute, I've always liked to have, kind of different income sources, because for the reason I said, sometimes one person isn't paying and the other one, you'll get some income from the other ones. And I've always been a freelance reporter. So I've always kind of had that variable income. But I've also always done other things throughout my whole life. For a while I was doing pony parties. I would do those on the weekends sometimes, not every weekend, but I would do weekends. And I remember one weekend, I think, I don't know how many I did, maybe just 3, but I ended up getting about $900, just on one weekend or something from these pony parties. And I also have done software training, and I've done some coaching. And so it's just little income streams that come in that help out when the other stuff isn't coming in. I enjoy that. It keeps me going. I like to keep busy, obviously. All right, so any questions so far? Give me some questions. Give me some comments. Let me know you're out there. Let's see if there's any over here. Nope. Anybody? So the question is, the captioning, is it like agency work? It is like, there are captioning firms, and they have employees, like W-2 employees, but they also have, they work with independent contractors. So I've only always done independent contracting with the cart and captioning companies. So Gloria asks, is it difficult to get captioning work? And the answer is no, it is not. You have to be prepared, and you have to do assessments. They make you do a test. But it is pretty easy to get. There's a lot out there, just like there's a lot of depots right now, at least here in California. And thank you for the no questions, but enjoying your session very much. Thank you very much. And then Leo, what are the income possibilities? And Donna says, love the idea of different income streams. So for cart and captioning, you get paid hourly. So I would say you get paid anywhere from like $55 to $100 an hour, depending on what kind of job it is. And so I know that when I take Tuesdays off, usually, and I forgot to put this in the slides, but I'll just tell you all about it. My schedule, at least last semester, was I would do a depo on Monday, stay home and do captioning work on Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday were depos, and then Friday I would either stay home and catch up or pick one or the other. I could pick one or the other or do nothing. That was my choice, because traffic is really, really bad around here on Fridays, especially coming back this way where I live. So I think the most I've ever worked captioning at home on one day is 8 or I think 9 hours. So you can do the math. I think I was getting $65 an hour for some of those jobs. And it is, you get tired just like you do with depos, but when you're done, you turn the computer off, you shut your machine down, and you're done. There's nothing else to do except for send out your invoice. There is a question, I've heard different things about working as a cart provider as a student. What's your opinion? I don't like it when students work as cart providers. And some students, I know you're really, really good, but then there's the rest of us who strive really hard to get certificates, to pass tests, to practice every day. Even though I've been a reporter for almost 36 years, I still practice every day. And also they're exploiting the students. They come in and say, hey, you guys can work. And of course you're all excited because this is your end goal and you can do it while you're still in school. But they pay you like $20 an hour, which is not good. So I really don't like it. I think students shouldn't do it for those reasons. And for captioning work, Donna says, do you have to test with companies before they will give you work? And mostly, yes. There have been times where I've just answered a cry for help. Like they would say, last minute, can somebody help us? And I say yes. And so there's no test there. But then I've gotten like consistent jobs that way. I have a once a month city council meeting I do that I got that way. And then I do some PBS stuff for that same company because I got the job that way. So mostly yes, but sometimes you can just pick up work by being the person who saves them. And then Tracy says, I do real time for myself and have done real time jobs, not certified yet. Eek. But I really want to see where I can go with cart captioning. Do you reach out to a company? Yes, I do. I send out emails, or at least I did in the beginning. I don't have to anymore because I'm established with them. But in the beginning, I sent out emails and my resume, which is what you saw a few slides ago. And, and then I say, I would like to test with you. I'd like to do an assessment. And then I do one. And in the beginning, I had some really bad ones because I was getting nervous. Kind of test anxiety. And so I had some really, really bad ones, even though I'm a pretty good writer. So that was kind of a humbling experience. There was a question that just disappeared, but it was, what should a student do, I think? There it is, Angela. What should my main focus be as a student to prepare to be a captioner and a reporter? It kind of depends on exactly where you are right now. But in my opinion, it's writing short. So if you don't write short, if you don't have phrases and briefs, of course, writing everything out is really great. But you also need to have a lot of briefs and phrases. So I would focus on that. So Gloria says my audio is breaking up. Is that happening to anybody else? And then Leo says, he's a real-time depot courtroom reporter. Do we need special equipment to do broadcast captioning? Yes, a bit. You do need a couple of things. Okay, my audio's not good. Well, I'll just keep going. If it becomes really, really bad, let me know. Is it better to get work for a captioning firm or take offers on the job bulletin board? I personally think that it is better to take the jobs on the bulletin board because I like to be independent. So, and also, if you become an employee, then they can just, kind of tell you what to do all the time. All right, I'm going to go on. I hope that it's not too bad breaking up. I can switch my internet service if if it is really, really bad. So let me know. Okay, so you can work for CART and captioning companies either as an independent contractor or an employee. And one captioning company who wanted to hire me in the beginning said I could do depots but not captioning for other companies. So there is that possibility if you want to have like a straight kind of employee job. I never did that, even though I was told I should, because they pay less and they pay you this little dinky amount, and then they can rule your lives telling you what you can and cannot do. So I took kind of a harder way and on my own, because you know, when you're working for a company, they help you out with things need troubleshooting and so on. But I'm very independent, so I'm very independent, so that's why I decided to be independent contractor. Okay, so more audios is bad. Even though it's bad, can you hear me? Or is it so bad that it's not worth it? Because I can actually go change my internet and see if the second one works any better. What do you guys think? Okay. All right, well, I'll try to keep going. Just as always, it's cutting out, shoot. Breaking up. And then one person said that's fine. Okay, I'll try to keep going, but please let me know if it's bad, and we'll just take like a 2-minute break, and I'll go get my other internet and see if that works better. Okay, so also if you decide to work on your own, you can find a mentor. I found a mentor on Facebook, on a Facebook captioning group. And she was the one that I asked all the questions to, such as, you know, oh, what does this mean? They sent me a job assignment, and it was this, I don't know, I didn't understand what it meant. And she told me, oh, that just means, you know, blah, blah, blah. So if you do want to work on your own, it's really good if you can find a mentor. And they're out there. There's a lot of them out there that are willing to help. Now, this is probably obvious, but just to go over it, there are differences, obviously, in reporting, legal reporting, and CART and captioning. So in reporting and legal reporting, you have to be verbatim, you have a commute, transcripts, exhibits, etc. And in CART and captioning, you can condense, which I promise we're going to talk about in a minute. You can work from home. You send in rough drafts sometimes. The company requires you to send in rough drafts. And then usually there's no extras. Some more differences are your dictionaries are separated, which I am going to show you in a second. How you write is different, as I just mentioned. You're either verbatim or you can condense. I was always taught in Corey boarding school, and for many years always looked at the speaker at depots and court until one day the lights went out and we kept going, but then I still could see, obviously, but I couldn't see their mouths move, and it really was a freak out moment. So after that, I started training myself not to look at them. And that was a good thing, because when you do captioning, you must stare at your screen so that you can catch an error as quickly as it happens and hopefully correct it before it gets sent out. Okay, so here is the promise examples of condensing. The one on the left, the part that's in yellow, Trey Dowdy and Devin Nunez and others, they were talking so fast, I just cut that out and said they. So every time they go over the Department of Justice, they get the stiff arm. So I changed it to they. That's what I mean by condensing. You can't just drop stuff, you have to make it make sense. Again, the one on the top on the right is yesterday the fair was in full force and many were out in the sunshine. So they said that so fast, so I changed it to many were out in the sunshine at the fair yesterday. So fewer words, but it conveys the same meaning. And here's one more. But I thought the White House was actually backing up the Department of Justice at this point, weren't they? So I just dropped the weren't they because the other person started speaking really quickly, and I didn't want to risk messing up the next person's, what the next person was saying. So I figured the weren't they wasn't really important. Weren't they? It wasn't really important. I just dropped it. And then one more. I changed these, and I can't remember now what I did. But the idea is still there. I took stuff out, but I had to add something in like after that, is what I did there. Okay, so a question. Would I recommend having a separate computer for captioning and depots? You could do that, but I actually use my same one for both because it's the same software that I'm using. So there's really no reason to do that. You have using your same software for both of these jobs, or all three of these jobs if you count captioning and cart separately. Okay, so I don't know if there were any cart, like pure cart or captioners on here, but if you were a pure cart and captioner, say some of you students get out of school and do cart and captioning and then decide you want to do some reporting, what you would have to do is get used to mixed case, which means not all caps. You would have to have question and answer identifiers that you as a captioner and cart provider you don't use. And you would have to get your mindset on the verbatim part, and you would have to think of, you probably want to make up some good, objection briefs and other legal briefs that you might come across. As far as equipment, from going from cart and adding reporting, you would need some tablets if you're going to do real time. Cards, a depot book, something to keep your notes in, a rolly bag. So that's pretty obvious, but I just want to point it out in case there are any pure cart people here. Okay, so Alex is asking me to repeat the last sentence. Can you tell me which last sentence? What did I say before or after? Okay, so if you're a student, for example, who goes into straight cart work after school, and you decide you want to do some reporting after a couple of years of just cart work, you're going to need to get ready for that by going from maybe writing all caps, which is what we do in broadcast captioning, to niche cap and lowercase. You need to make sure you have Q&A symbols. Your mind's got to be on verbatim, and you're going to learn some legal briefs. And this is some of the equipment you might need to get. Okay, so preparing for adding cart and captioning to those of us who start out as reporters. The hardest one for me was this mindset, letting go of verbatim. In my mind, no matter what, I need to get every single word. And that was really hard for me to condense. And so they talk so fast on the news, etc., that it would just start coming out sloppy. No matter what I do, they get up to like 300 words a minute. So I had to really, really work on that. That was the hardest thing for me. Also, you need to do some separating out of your dictionaries, and I'm going to show you some examples of that in a second. What you are going to separate out from your dictionary, so you're going to have a main dictionary that has everything except cuss words and offensive words, doesn't have the Q&A speaker designations, doesn't have objection briefs or anything to do with legal. Like I have a thing that says the interpreter or through interpreter in English. All of that would go out of your main dictionary and into a legal dictionary. And then I'm going to show you in a minute what you would put in your captioning and cart dictionary. But first I want to make sure you guys can hear me still, and if there's any questions. Okay, so in your cart and captioning dictionary, so a minute ago we talked about stuff you were going to put in your legal dictionary, which was any cuss words or offensive words, anything to do with legal. Your Q&A designations are all going to go in your legal dictionary. So then you have your main dictionary that has all your other words besides those things. And in your captioning and cart dictionary, you're going to put things like the chevrons, which are the little sideways caret things, the little bracket things. Those are called chevrons. You're going to put things like buzzer. I use that for sports. In the cart side, I have a stroke that says speaker away from mic, because in a classroom, the microphone is usually up by the teacher. And so some student says something in the back, I can't really hear him or her. So there's a question here. Tracy says, I have CaseViewNet for real time, but is there additional programs to buy from Stenograph to use for Captioner or CART? And I'm glad you can hear me. Oh, I just blinked out. Am I back? Okay, so to answer the CaseViewNet, you can use that for CART work if you're in room, but you don't need the CaseViewNet for doing things remotely, because you have we have different platforms to do that, which I'll show you in a sec. Okay, I'm back, but I'm breaking up, so sorry about that. Why are separate dictionaries necessary? Asked Donna. If you are doing captioning work, for example, you're captioning a newscast, you cannot have the word, you know, a cuss word come out. That's horrible and bad, and it's just no good. So you put it in a separate dictionary, and then it won't have the opportunity of coming out either by your writing it or by some artificial intelligence. So it's really not for the more option for briefs. It's so that you don't commit something that you're not supposed to do. You don't write something you're not supposed to do. So for example, the word porn, I write it now a different way than I used to, and I don't have it like in my captioning dictionary. For me to write porn, I have to write like 2 strokes or something like that, because I don't want to try to write born and then porn comes out. That would be really bad on a TV show. Okay, so here's an example of my legal dictionary and my captioning dictionary. So on the left, I have, you know, Your Honor, the interpreter, the Q's and the A's. And my captioning dictionary might have some of the same strokes, but they're defined as the chevrons. And what the N means there, I have eclipse, and what the N is in eclipse means new paragraph. Okay, any more dictionary questions that I can answer? I'm really sorry about the audio. I'm not sure why it's not good. So can you get in trouble for misstrokes when captioning? If some cuss word came out, yes, because if you're on TV, there's FCC rules and regulations and laws, and so the TV station can get dinged for that. So they would be pretty upset if you had some, you know, F word come out by mistake or something. So if they were to say it, so let's say you're in a classroom, and I did have this happen. The teacher said, you know, SHIT, and the teacher said this all the time. So I had to finger spell it out, which we're going to talk about in a minute too. But because I don't have it, because I don't want it to come out by itself, I had to write it and then ask for a brief for it. Okay, so here I just want to tell you about Wendy, a reporter I worked with. And just as a little bit of background, I come across so many reporters who are so just burned out, and it breaks my heart because I love my career and I've never not loved it. And, you know, yeah, I get annoyed with attorneys and I get tired and I get grumpy, but I've never not loved my career. I've never wanted to stop doing it. And she actually stopped because she was just burnt out. And, but I worked with her and I showed her all these stuff that I'm showing you, and then I'm going to show you in the master course, if you decide to join me there, how to get ready and do car work. And she got this really renewed love again for her career and has found a niche that she loves doing again. And I thought it was such a shame. She actually left to become an esthetician. She was doing facials and, you know, didn't have any clients, and that didn't work out. So she's a really good writer. So I was happy to see her back doing that again. Okay, questions before I move on? Still hear me okay, even though it's choppy? Okay, so other things that are important when you're switching over or you're adding CART and captioning is punctuation. This was my downfall. I didn't punctuate a lot. And every assessment I did, the comment came back, you need to punctuate more. So really get good at punctuating. Finger spelling, that is where you write things out letter by letter. That's a really, really important thing. And so I started practicing in my depositions to do it. And so that when I was captioning and stuff, it would come easily to me. And I'll show you an example of how I use finger spelling in captioning. And then condensing, again, we talked a little bit about that. You need to really wrap your mind around it. At least I did. That's why I keep stressing it, because I had such a hard time with it. So I can tell you more about it if you like when we have more questions. There's a question: is it better to write out numbers or use a number bar? I really can't answer that because I've never used my number bar for writing numbers. I use it for other things like macros and stuff, but I never use it for my theory. When I was in core reporting school, we just have a system to write our numbers out, like 34 is one stroke, etc. So I'm sorry, I think it's better to write them out, but that's just because that's what I do. So nothing against, number bar writers. Okay, so during assessments, when you're doing assessments for captioning or CART firms, they will grade you poorly if they don't see enough punctuation. So I really wanted to stress that you should get your punctuation game really going. And here's finger spelling. Now, if you look on the left, it's ABC all caps, so like an acronym, then ABC with dashes, stitching, ABC lowercase for CART work, if they say a word that you don't have in your dictionary, and then niche cap ABC, that's if they're saying a name and you need to spell it out. Some people have different ways of writing the alphabet that they can use to do each one of these things. I have one way I write my alphabet, and then I have a macro stroke that I put in front of it to make it do these different formatting. So for example, if I want to do the niche cap ABC, let's say they're going to say the name Laura, and I don't have Laura in my dictionary, but I'm going to finger spell it, L-E-U-R-A. I do my stroke that says niche cap, the next word, L-E-U-R-A, and then it puts it out, capital L, lowercase A-U-R-A. So one place I used it would be, for example, again, the same captioning thing I did yesterday, the fair was in full force. Well, if I forgot how I wrote fair, because I have a way of writing F-A-I-R, F-A-R-E, then if I forget which way and I don't want to chance it that it's going to come out wrong, I'll finger spell it. And then my software will tell me how I write it, like what the brief is for it. Okay, we're going to go into equipment here. Does anybody have any questions about finger spelling, or is the audio so bad I need to go try to change it? Any of those things, let me know. Okay, I will go on to equipment. Okay, so that actually on the right is a picture of a job I did. At a commercial before I cleared my captions, I just took a picture of it real quick. But some equipment you will need to get if you're going to do captioning or CART work from home is an uninterruptible power supply, which is basically a big battery that you plug the important things into, like your internet service, your internet router. And other things like my monitor and my computer will go into that. You need a backup phone, so you usually need two phones. Sometimes you're calling in with your phone for audio. Sometimes you're not. You can also use things like, whatever phone services you can get on the internet, like Google Hangouts kind of thing. You can use that. And that's for internet captioning work and CART work. But for broadcast captioning, you might need a modem. Some stations still use old-fashioned modem, like the kind you would use way back when we first had internet. And then you will also need a captioning version of your CAT software. So for Eclipse, it's AccuCap, and I forget what the Case Catalyst one is. Maybe somebody can put it in there. And then the question about number bars, I said that I don't use a number bar, so I like to write. I have a system of writing it out that I learned in court reporting school, so all my numbers are one stroke as far as up to 99. They're all one stroke. So that's how I do it. Okay. Did you have to go through your entire dictionary word by word to prepare it for cart captioning? Oh no, I did not. I searched through it, which is one of the things I'm going to work with you guys on if you join the master class that I'm offering. I would search for things like objection, and then take out all of those briefs, and kind of a whole list of things that I searched for. There's a list of words that you have to take out, like the word cock, for example. You change it to cook because you know, if it comes out when it's not supposed to, like if it's not a part of cock-a-doodle-doo, then it would not be a good word to pop out there. Okay, some apps that you use for providing remote real-time, and that's why the question about using the case view net, I said that I would show you what you use when you're doing it remotely. And the most common one that I use is one called Stream Text. You don't have to pay for it. The captioning company pays for it, and then you just set your output from your software, from your CAT software, to the proper settings, and it outputs to the stream text, and that's how the student gets it. Some jobs I've had, they have you write into the Skype box. So you need a setting for what in Eclipse is called keyboard mode, and I forget what it's called in Case Catalyst, but there is the same thing. I just can't remember what it's called. For captioning, like broadcast captioning, which means you're connecting to an encoder, there are ICAP and ICAP app, or IAP. One app cap, I think I have it wrong there. I think it's one app cap, sorry. ICAP is the one I mostly use. But you have to have the software, the version of the software that is for captioning, to use those things that go to the encoder. So does everybody know how the encoders work, or are you familiar with encoders, what that means? Basically, when you send out feed, it gets encoded through the TV station, and when they send it out to the show that people are watching, every TV has a decoder. So we encode it, or we send it out to an encoder. It gets encoded at the TV station, and then everybody's TV decodes it. That's how that works. So it used to be, to connect to an encoder at the TV station, you needed a modem, which was kind of like the ones we used in the 90s. You know, when you first got internet, they went, you know, that sound that it did. I still have some jobs that use that, but more and more they're switching over to internet-based, and so I don't have to use the encoder on a phone line, because you need a old-fashioned phone line to do that. You have to have an actual phone line, not a cell phone. It has to be an actual phone line. Okay, so to get card and captioning jobs, you don't have to be certified. As you know, per like the question of the student, could students work as cart providers? You don't have to be certified, but it's been my experience that they at least want you to have some sort of real-time certification. So for example, I started out captioning, all I had was my RMR, and that's not real-time, but I guess it just showed them that I was, you know, a good writer because I passed my RMR. But when I got my CRR, which is Certified Real-Time Reporter, and then later on the CRC, which is Certified Real-Time Captioner, at least one company pays more when you have those certifications. Not all, but some do. And there was one company I worked for that would not use anybody who didn't have at least one of the real-time certifications from NCRA. So you either had to have CRR or CRC. Okay, any questions about that? Any questions about anything? To those of you who were interested in CART and captioning before this webinar, are you still interested? There's a question, is it possible to make 6 figures in captioning? I have heard of it, yes. I have heard of it done. So I would say yes. Some of the jobs you get, I mean, you can go on site. I was offered a job in Barcelona for some convention, but it didn't end up happening, and I was going to get paid pretty well for that. Just certain things you know, it's just like depositions. Some jobs are higher paying than others. So the answer is yes. I only do it part-time, so I can't really, you know, attest to that myself. What's the minimum speed that you need to be at? I would say you should have a really good literary base of at least 180, but 200 would be better, but at least in literary, because think about what you get when you're captioning and you're doing CART work. It's pretty much all literary. You never know what's going to happen. So you need to have these other skills really good, like the finger spelling. So what next? If you're still interested, you can go to some programs that teach you how to caption. These are a couple that I found. I actually have done the Learn to Caption one. It was a good program. It's a very comprehensive, but it's not tailored. You know, it's cookie cutter, so you have to be really strong about getting the help you need. So if you need help and you're not getting it from the program, you have to figure out how to get it. It doesn't really go into mindset. It's more just learning how to practice and your dictionary work. And then I just Googled some more to see, you know, if there are other captioning programs that you could do, and there appear to be some different ones you could look into that might be cheaper than the other one that I did. And also, I'm going to be offering a free kind of master class. Not going to have slides. We're just going to sit down together via Zoom, hopefully with better sound. And we're going to just work on this dictionary stuff, everything that I went over today, but in more detail. What you need, and it's going to be really just a master class workshop. I don't have any CEU pre-approval for it, so if you come, it'll be because you really want to learn more about captioning. I could send out my slides, sure. If you want my slides, I will be happy to give them to you. You will also, you'll be sent an email that has a little quiz that if you take it, I will be notified and I'll send you the certification approval. And also, if you want some information on this Learn to Caption, I can post that in the chat also. Let's see what else. Okay, so also in the email, you'll be sent out the sign-up sheet for the free CART and captioning masterclass. If you would like to attend that, I'm going to do it on Saturday, April 13th at 10:30 my time. And also, I have a course that I'm about to launch pretty soon, next couple of weeks, that I've called Get Past Your Speed Trap. And so it's 4 modules of you know, how to get your mind wrapped around things, how to practice and be a better writer, etc. You don't have to, no, you can attend the master class without being a current reporter. I just didn't get CEU credits for it because I want people who are really, really interested, and not that you all aren't, but there could have been some people who are just, you know, kind of interested in coming for the credit. So yes, anybody can come to that master class, but just be ready to work, to you know, to take notes, to ask questions, and get ready to really start working on this. And then also you were going to get a sign up for the mini course wait list. That just means I'll send you more information on it when it actually is launched. But it's going to be really good. It's not for captioning or CART. It's just for anybody, any steno writer who wants to get better. And you know, obviously you need to be better. You need to be better to writer to just actually do this job. So it's for anybody who wants to be a better writer, and it has some extras in it too, like a posture module and so on. Is there a way to view the jobs bulletin board just to see what kind of jobs are out there? Let me see if I can bring one up in a second. So hold on. You need to be at 300 words to caption. No, I didn't say 180 to 200. That would just be the minimum. Definitely they spurt up to 300 and pass. So you do need to practice, but you can condense. So that's the thing. When they get either too fast or they talk over each other, there's no way of stopping them at all. So then you have to condense. You just have to. There's no other way to do it, because otherwise you can't send out, garbage. So I will try to bring up one of those captioning or cart assignment jobs in 1 second, but before that, I just want to go over this again. You're going to fill out this part. I'm going to fill out that part, and you're going to send it in. And yeah, so that was my presentation. Let me see if I can bring up a job board just for you guys. So hold on, let me get over here. Let's see. Okay, so in the chat box, there's the quiz. It's that Career Love Wufoo form is the quiz if you want it. The masterclass link is there if you want to sign up for that. I'll also be sending out an email to all those who attended with this information. And then also I'll get my slides ready to give you guys too. But let's see if I can bring this up here. I think my internet is kind of slow, so that is why the audio was so bad, and I really apologize. So if you're patient, I can get this up for you. Yes, definitely. There's a comment here. I highly recommend Mark Kisslingberry's course on writing short. It is amazing, and that is exactly why I can do all the stuff I do, because of that, because of changing my writing that way. Yep, definitely. And if you type in alexmagnumsteno.com, that's his Magnum Steno Club, and you can get a lot of information, and also you can get a week free of his, to check out his site and what he does there. Okay, I'm slowly getting this board up. Okay, so those are scheduled jobs, but I don't have any right now. Job board, here it is. Okay, let's see more. So when you ask, somebody asks, what do you think about working in a different country for captioning? Do you mean being in a different country and just working like the same jobs I would work here? That is what I'm going to do. So I think it's a good idea. If you meant something else, then just let me know. So here's just some, I'm just going to do it really quickly so you can see. These are the jobs, and I'm going to shut it down because this is actually just to show you real quick. All right, so that's the kind of job board that you might see. All right, so in the chat box, you've got some links. Again, if you're, yes, those are hourly rates, yes. Again, if you are interested in doing my, workshop, then I'm happy to have you. I just, if you're really serious about it, that's who I want to help, is the people who really want to do it. Because I can help you get there, and I can even work with you afterwards, and, I have groups and stuff that do it for cheaper than the courses. But the courses are also great too. So, you just pick something that you like and that will work for you, and that's, get you going. So I am moving out of the country. I'm still a student. How long will I get my thinking? Yes, you can do it from out of the country. Definitely. There are many people who do. So, all right. Okay, so here's somebody who wants the workshop, more workshop people. Great. So I will do my best to get the slides ready. And also, I'll send you out the other links that you can sign up and get your credits also. Any other questions, I'm happy to answer. There's still time. Yes, definitely sign up if you want to come to my, again, it's not going to be slides. It's just going to be a pure teaching situation where I show you how to get your dictionaries ready and, some other stuff that I didn't put here, but more in detail. So the sign up for next week is up above. Maybe you can post it again, Alex. It's kind of funny, it's the Infusionsoft link, but Alex will put it there for you again. And I also would encourage you to practice, practice, practice every day, all the time. It makes real life easier. Those of you who are students, the practicing shouldn't stop once you take the CSR. You need to keep going. And it makes everything funner and easier. I love it when I'm at a job where I'm doing a captioning job and they spurt and I look at my word per minute calculator and it says 320 and I got it and it wasn't hard. Those little spurts, I just love seeing that. It just lights up my day. So that's what I wish for you all too. All right, so there is the sign up. If you are interested, again, there's no CEU credits for that one. For the master class, but I'm really delighted to help anybody who wants to be able to do what I do and just enjoy this career that much more. Hey, anybody else? Any other questions about anything? It could be about court reporting, anything at all. Thank you, Gloria. I appreciate your taking your time to come here. It means a lot to me when people sign up to these things and want to get my information. Okay. Thank you, Leo. Thanks for coming. Donna. So the question was, what do I like better, captioning or court reporting? That's a hard one. I mean, I've been doing reporting so much longer, so it's way easier for me. But some of the captioning is so interesting that's fun. I love being at home, so it's kind of a balance thing. Thank you, Linda. I'm glad that you found it interesting. I try to be an amazing reporter captioner. I practice all the time so I can be as good as I can be. Thank you, Carol. All right, well, don't hesitate to email me too if you have anything you want to ask or say later on. And there's the master class link again. If you're interested, you will get an email. We're going to just send it out to those people who attended, not all those who signed up, because there were more who signed up than that came. But just for you guys who came and stayed to the end, you're going to get the link. What are pony parties? I have horses and ponies, and so I would take them to little kid birthday parties and give little pony rides at, has nothing to do with court reporting. It was just something I did on the side because that was a passion of mine, horses. So that's a good question though. What are pony parties? Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for coming. Let's see, any more questions before I go? Okay. All right, so you want to sign up. So Tracy wants to sign up for the masterclass. I'll send you guys all an email with this stuff too. But I just wanted to put it here in case you wanted it, right away. So keep me on your mailing list. I will sure do that. Okay, found the link in the Q&A chat box. Great. All right. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope to see you guys in the master class. And just be ready to get to work. Yeah, I'll send out the email. So if you don't get the email, like within, I'm probably gonna send it tomorrow or the next day. Go ahead and send me an email back and just let me know that you didn't get it, and I'll work on that. All right, and thanks for your patience with the sound. Maybe because it's in the evening, I usually do these things in the morning. I don't know. I live in the country, so that's kind of the bad part about the internet. All right, all of you have a really great evening. Oh, can I explain more about scheduling between the two? Between the two, so reporting, scheduling, and CART and captioning, is that what you meant? Okay, so scheduling, like a deposition, you would get an assignment, you get a time, you go to it, it lasts however long it lasts. Could be 2 hours, could be all day. You just never know, really. When you get a scheduling for a CART or a captioning job, it gives you, most of the time, unless it's a city council meeting, but most of the time it'll say that it's a 2-hour, program, or if it's a sports game, it might last longer, but you kind of know a little bit better how long it's going to last. And then you usually get emails with assignments on both sides. And yeah, any other aspect of it that I can clear up? All right. Thank you all again. And I will see you either in the masterclass or in my next webinar. Oh, more question. All right. I love the questions. Are there a lot of last minute CART captioning assignments? Yes. Yes. They come through. I get emails for them all over the place. And then there's like a Yahoo group that people post things on. And definitely, yes. There's a lot of them that come through. Yep. All right. Have a great evening and weekend, and I will see you all soon. Thank you.